All right, today we're digging into something really fascinating. It's a scientific review that asks a pretty powerful question. Can the foods we've been eating for, centuries actually help our bodies fight back against viruses? Let's get into it. I mean, it's a pretty compelling question, right? Could your grocery list actually be a secret weapon? The idea that the path to a stronger immune system might just run right through your kitchen? Well, that's exactly what this research is all about. Whenever new viruses pop up, scientists start looking for answers in all sorts of places. And that includes, maybe surprisingly, our dinner plates. This paper we're looking at today dives right into that, the connection between nutrition and our body's defenses. So, to really get why this research is so important, we first have to talk about the problem it's trying to solve, and that is the constant challenge of viral infections. I mean, if you look at our recent history, it's been marked by these major coronavirus outbreaks, right? We had SARS back in 2002, then MERS about a decade later, and of course, SARS-CoV-2 starting in 2019. It's this constant threat that has scientists looking for any and every way to help strengthen our defenses. Okay, so what is our main line of defense against all these threats? Well, it's this amazing internal shield we all have. We're talking about the immune system. Yeah, you can really think of your immune system as your own personal security team, working 24/7. It's this super complex network of cells and, well, all sorts of things designed to find and take out invaders. So keeping that team in top shape, it's absolutely fundamental to our health. And this leads to a really crucial point the paper makes. A compromised immune system isn't just a small problem. The researchers point to it as a major risk factor for all viral infections. It affects not just whether you get sick, but how sick you might get. Okay, and now for the main event. This is what the review really focused on. A bunch of traditional foods and their potential to support our natural shield. Let's take a look at what they found. First up, we have garlic. We all know it. It's been used for centuries, not just in kitchens, but in traditional medicine too. And it turns out there's a lot more to it than just its, very powerful flavor. So this is where it gets super interesting. The paper breaks down how it might work. You've got these specific compounds inside garlic doing different jobs. For example, allicin. Researchers studied how it can actually stop a virus from even latching onto our cells in the first place. Then you have quercetin, which was looked at for its ability to stop a virus from multiplying once it's inside. So you see, it's like a 1-2 punch. All right, next up is one you might not know, Nigella sativa. It's also called black cumin, and in some places it's known as the seed of blessing. It has this really long, rich history in traditional medicine, especially in the Middle East and Asia. The real star of the show here is a compound called thymoquinone, or TQ for short. What's so cool is that the review mentions studies where TQ seemed to boost our helper T cells. You can think of those cells as the quarterbacks of the immune system. They coordinate the attack. On top of that, TQ was also observed messing with the virus's ability to make copies of itself. Pretty neat. Next, let's talk about licorice root. And no, not just the candy. For literally thousands of years, it's been a key player in traditional Chinese medicine, often for respiratory problems. And check out this direct quote from the paper. It really shows why scientists were paying attention. It says that one of its compounds, called glycyrrhizin, showed potent antiviral effects against SARS-CoV-2-related viruses in vitro studies. And that in vitro part just means it was in a lab setting, like in a test tube. Still, a very interesting and, of course, timely finding.
The review didn't stop there. It also looked at a couple of other common spices. And what's really fascinating is how they seem to work differently. Take black pepper. Its main compound, piperine, was studied for stopping the virus from even getting into our cells. But cinnamon's compound was observed doing something else entirely. It basically threw a wrench in the virus's copy machine. It's kind of like having defenders with totally different special skills.
And the list just keeps going. The paper also touched on yogurt, noting its connection to producing antibodies. It talked about certain mushrooms and how they can stimulate our cellular immunity. And even spirulina for how it helps get key immune soldiers, like our B and T cells, moving. It just goes to show how many different ways our diet can potentially support our immune system. So it wasn't just about whole foods. The review also spent some time on the absolute building blocks of a healthy immune system, and that means essential vitamins. And each vitamin has a really specific job to do. Vitamin A, for instance, helps our T cells actually find the bad guys. Vitamin C, well, that's the famous one, right? It helps our immune cells go on the attack.
And vitamin D helps make some of our key defensive cells even better at their jobs. They all work together.
So after looking at all this different evidence, what's the big picture here? What's the main thing we should take away from all this research? Okay, and this is probably the most important point of all. The scientists are really clear about this. None of these foods are a cure, not at all. The right way to think about them is as tools to help support the amazing defense system we already have. And this quote from the paper's conclusion really just sums it all up perfectly. The goal here is maintenance and support. It's all about giving your body the nutrients it needs to do its job, which helps not just your immune system, but your overall health too. So, at the end of the day, this research really just opens up a bigger conversation, about how we can be proactive with our nutrition. And it leaves all of us with a pretty simple but powerful question to think about. Thanks for tuning in.